Alright, so you got this movie called 365 Days, This Day, which is actually part 2, but I'm gonna give you a recap on part 1 first. So basically you got this girl named Laura from Poland. She's doing like day-to-day work as an executive consultant and whatnot. She got this boyfriend that's lazy as fuck, he's just on some bullshit. She had a pretty decent high executive job. Then we got this dude by the name of Massimo from Italy. And his father was like some mafia boss or something like that, but he ended up getting killed. So Massimo pretty much then took over the whole cartel, so there you go. So apparently one day Massimo's doing his duties and he's like scoping out Laura, but apparently she don't know that shit. Laura one day is going to like a regular business meetings. And she goes to this party, I guess she was like drugged or something. And she wakes up inside of this castle. Massimo's like standing over her and whatnot. So the thing is, he basically kidnapped this chick. But he gives her this ultimatum and tells her if she doesn't fall in love with him within like 365 days, he'll let her go. Basically, it's like some 50 Shades of Grey gone wrong, basically. Can't just go around kidnapping niggas, like, the fuck? Of course she's trying to find ways to get away from him, but it's to no avail. He's basically giving her everything she wants as long as she stays with him. So we get to this point in the story where they're like arguing on a boat or something like that, and then she ends up falling off the boat and he goes and rescues her. And this is basically the point of the story where she turns around and turns her feelings towards him or whatever. And all of a sudden she's really starting to like him because he quote unquote saved her life. And after that he feels more lenient to let her go places after they smash. She's also got a best friend by the name of Olga. Oh yeah, throughout this entire time being kidnapped, she couldn't have any outside conversation with anybody. Her job is pretty much obsolete at this point because I'm like, the fuck, aren't they gonna miss her or something? Like, come on, you gotta call, do something. So yeah, it gets to a point where Laura's really feeling Massimo. She didn't change her hair color, did all this other stuff. It gets to a point where she's in some sort of club or something like that. She's like arguing with her ex-boyfriend because he just popped up out the blue. But as they both get back to the hotel room arguing, they realize that Massimo was in the other side of the chair. How'd he get in the room? Well, anyway, ex-boyfriend don't want the beef with Massimo, so he dips out. I don't even know if he's still alive or not, but bottom line is he's gone. And then Laura tells Massimo she don't need 365 days to say that she loves him and all this other stuff. They do the do, and then they about to plan on getting married. So we found out what Massimo was really trying to keep Laura safe. Because apparently another mafia wants to get her knocked off. Because this other chick named Messi really has feelings for Massimo or whatever like that. She just happens to be one of the heads of this other cartel, so you're like, okay. So basically Laura has this talk with her best friend, Olga. They're at the beach and Laura tells Olga that she's actually pregnant. The thing is, Massimo don't know that. So afterwards, they riding in the car ready to go to Massimo's house. But the driver ends up popping up at the door of Massimo's house. He got there on foot, so you're like, what the heck is he doing on foot? And if he's not there, who the hell's driving Laura around? Last thing we see is a car going through a tunnel, but it never came out the other side of the tunnel. So we're like, where the hell did Laura go? And that was pretty much the end of the first movie. So let's get to the second one. So right out the blue, we see Laura in this random area with a wedding dress on. I'm like, what the fuck? Massimo comes out of nowhere and starts smashing. Olga comes out of nowhere like, dude, it's bad luck to be seeing your wife in a wedding dress and da-da-da before you even got married. So they never explained what happened to her car. All they said it was like some type of accident. And they made it out all right, but apparently she ended up losing the baby. But once again, Massimo never knew she was even having a baby. So it was like, so I'm thinking to myself, what happened to the dude that was driving the limo? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, Massimo and Laura end up getting married. They're enjoying their honeymoon and all that good stuff. But the thing is, Massimo's still trying to be very controlling as he was in the first movie. Yeah, he's not changed at all in his stance against that, whatever. But Laura's basically living with him and they're like, yeah, fuck your old job. There you go. Meanwhile, Olga actually meets some dude named Dominic, and she be smashing off on him, so there you go. But we found out Dominic is like Massimo's right-hand man and whatnot. So they love life, sex life is great and all that other jazz. So Laura's basically living a life, but she tends to get restless at times. So when Christmas comes around, Massimo ends up giving her a contract to her very own clothing store, so there you go. And since she loves fashion, she could basically manage the whole situation. And at the same time, Dominic ends up proposing to Olga, so there you go. I guess things were going so good at that point that Laura was able to bring her parents out there, who've been married to each other for like 30 years. But Massimo's giving everybody else more attention than Laura at certain points. I mean, you gotta understand, he's a mafia boss, he gotta run shit, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, he's very demanding with everything that he's doing, you know what I mean? So basically one day they go to this little soiree. He's got to meet with other different clients or whatever like that, had these conversations and whatnot. So while Laura's on the dance floor, she looks up and sees Massimo talking to Messi. I'm like, the fuck is this? They end up fleeing the scene. So Laura goes to follow, run around the building complex, and when she gets to her room, she sees Massimo and Messi smashing. I'm like, what the fuck? Really, dude? After stalking a girl, wanting to keep her for 365 days and whatnot, giving her everything she asked for, getting married to her, and you just gonna smash Messi? Your rival in cartels, I might add. Like, dude, that's just dumb. Like, what the fuck is the reason? But Massimo didn't see Laura, so Laura dips out of the party. And it turns out this gardener by the name of Nacho was able to get her out of the situation. That's right, I forgot to mention that this dude by the name of Nacho was her personal gardener. I don't know why he just happened to be there outside the mess hall, but okay, whatever. He takes her away and she's ready to just get away from all this shit. But Nacho tells Laura she can stay at his house until she figures out whatever she want to do. He basically stays at this spot with his sister, who's like 5 months pregnant. They starting to get closer, they feeling each other, they talking and all that other stuff. Meanwhile, we found Massimo got beef with niggas. Now Massimo really didn't have any family left, especially after his father died, but we find out that he actually has a brother. What Laura didn't know is Massimo actually has a twin brother, like exactly identical. Turns out he was the one that was smashing Nessie, not Massimo. Too little too late on that because Nacho eventually ends up smashing Laura, so there you go. One night a burglar comes in and almost tries to kill Nacho, but Nacho finished that dude off. He's like, fuck out of here with that shit. Next day we see Massimo in the car and he's talking about some phone conversation talking about he survived. I'm like, wait a minute. Does Massimo already know it was the gardener? Well, it turns out he was the one that sent that dude to burglarize Nacho. My thing is, as a mafia boss, you only send one person after him? Like, really? Then Massimo has a one-on-one conversation with Messi. He tells her, stop interfering with shit, man. You ain't my girl, I ain't fucking with you. We not blending together for power, none of this shit. Of course, she ain't take that news too well. So Nacho and Laura are talking, and all of a sudden we get to this situation where he's got to talk to his father. The thing is, his father actually works for a cartel. And he doesn't want to go because the thing is, he's got to meet Massimo there too. So Laura's like, what the fuck is going on? Is everybody lying to me about shit? So we find out Nacho's actually a representative of the other cartel. The one that Massimo's brother and Messi work for. Turns out they're actually the ones that sent Nacho to pick up Laura in the first place. But Nacho keeps saying he's trying to get out of that life and do all this other stuff, but because he's worked for his father, he really don't have a choice. So towards the end of the movie, Massimo meets up with all these niggas. Nacho's father said he's got his best security guard protected on the clock when it comes to Laura. The thing is, Nacho was like, Laura left for some different security guards. So basically, they don't have Laura. Next thing we know, we see Laura in this temple, and she's like face to face with Massimo's brother. Which now she finds out the truth. She finds out he's actually a twin brother whose name is Antonio. And then from the shadows, here comes Messi. I'm like, oh boy. And they basically brought her there just to flat out kill her. Massimo and Nacho team up to go find Laura. They get there and it's a standoff. Basically, Antonio hates his brother Massimo for getting more power, all the power that he was supposed to get. Only because he was born 10 minutes later than him. Firstborn gets the power, all that shit. And Messi's pissed off because she wanted part of that legacy too. Obviously being the one to marry Massimo, but Massimo clearly wasn't hearing that shit, and that's why he went with Laura. Then Antonio tells Massimo about the accident that happened towards the end of the first movie. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, we caused the accident to have her lose her first baby. Which again, Massimo didn't know about. Next thing you know, Laura breaks away, a whole shootout begins. Antonio and Messi are done deal dead as shit, but not before Messi was able to shoot Laura. Laura's done deal dead as shit, and the last thing we see is Massimo crying, holding her in the hands. I'm like, that's the end of the movie? What the fuck? So yeah, all in all, it's like a Mafia bootleg version of 50 Shades of Grey. With very unique kinks and kidnapping and stuff, things that would not take place in that other movie. There you go, that's my review on both of them shits.